Hey there. Well, like all of you guys, I've been playing Swarm in all my free time, and I just wanted to give my take on a tier list since I have gotten the Swarm Conqueror title. And yeah, alright. So, first off, starting with the mines here. I think I'd put them into probably C tier. Their damage is okay, they can't crit, they're hard to use on bosses, so I've really used them and I really wouldn't recommend using them since there's so many better AoE options. Next, the Bouncing Bomb. I would also put these in C tier, but they are probably the best the best damage evolution weapon. They can't crit again, which really sucks. And the only thing good about them is once they evolve, they bounce infinitely. But once again, there's better options. This brings us to the crossbow, which I would probably put into B tier. It evolves with crit. It's a solid option for AoE damage if you're going projectiles and crit. The evolution is pretty nice with the base 30 projectiles and not a bad weapon to pick up in like your last couple slots if you really need to round out the build with a little more AoE. And then we'll go with boomerangs, which I'm not sure to put them in B or C tier. But I'll put them into B tier since it does do nice AoE. Before it evolves, it kind of suck. But yeah, it's okay to use them to round out with more AoE if needed. A little more damage. And then we'll go with Mega Blaster. It evolves with Critical Strike. Another solid option if you're going crit. Does quite good damage, and the area is fairly wide. Yeah, so kind of the same thing as the other ones in B tier. And now the slicers. I would definitely put these in the A tier. Evolves with regen. Regen is quite good. Allows you to take a little bit of damage and not die from it. And the best part about them is it knocks everything back. And once you evolve them, they are permanently out. So you're always knocking stuff back. And it's good to use on range or melee champs and will most likely save you from taking a ton of damage you would have taken otherwise. And then the echoing bat blades. I'd probably put these into B tier, probably somewhere like right there, B tier. And it's the exact same as everything else in here. You can put it into your build if you are getting projectiles. They can crit, they bounce off walls, so you stand by walls are quite good. And once you evolve them, every time they bounce off a wall, they'll do more damage. So they're really not bad. They're okay. I've used them, I've won with them, and yeah, I've won with all these things here. And now we're getting to probably the worst weapon in my opinion, is the stupid train. It evolves with damage, but the only thing I've ever used this for is basically when I'm just farming gold. You evolve it, sometimes things it runs over will give you gold. It's pretty unimpressive. And then the Gatling guns. When I first started playing, I thought these were the best weapon in the game. They got good area damage, you get duration, they stay out for a long time, and it feels good. But then you just get further down, you get into hard, it gets a little worse, and then you get into extreme, and yeah, they feel useless. So I would still put him, in C tier. Probably the top of C tier. Uh, I'll put him in the middle, I guess. Um, the one thing they have going for them is when you evolve them, they'll slow in CC. But there's better options like the slicers and ice armor. Ice armor is definitely S tier. It is by far the best defensive option, blocking the next damage that you take and then freezing everything in the area. It's it's actually OP. You get some ability haste, which you should get every game, and some armor, which it evolves off of. And it's going to be up quite a bit. It's going to save you from those big boss damage hits. And it's like a must have every game, in my opinion. The Lioness Lament. I'd probably put these in C tier too. I'd say just like the Gatling gun. I liked them early on, but the higher I got, I started to feel like they were kind of useless. It was kind of like limiting you where you could stand when you're fighting stuff. It does decent damage when you're actually standing in a good place to get lots of hits off, but it's definitely not as good as some of the other options. Sorry. Then we go to these paw things, sort of like paw poisoners. I tried to make them work on like Riven, just running fast, poisoning everything, but they're pretty bad. The damage is low. I put them above the train because I hate the train. But the damage is really low, and the shield you get once it evolves from move speed is quite bad as well. And I would never go if you're trying to win, that is. And then Radiant Field. Now this one is tough because if you're on a melee champion that's gonna have a lot of health, I'd probably put it in A tier. But if you're a ranged champion, it's probably like C tier. So I'll just put it in B tier. And this is quite nice. It evolves off health. Once you evolve it, everything you kill will explode, so it's a good AoE option if you're getting in their face with lots of health. Um, yeah, I like it. I use it on Alawi, Briar, and Leona. But to the next one, the Searing Shortbow. Just like the Gatling gun and the Lament, I thought this thing was great in my story mode completion. I thought I was going to be building it every game, but area is okay, but on a lot of champions you don't really want it that badly, and it can't crit, which is a big downgrade. It does pretty good damage though, so it's not like the worst thing in the world, but yeah, I'd probably put it above the Then the static sword, I'd probably put an A tier. If you're building health, it's an awesome thing to have. It does good damage once it evolves. Um, it'll put like an electric field around him, which does pretty good damage. And yeah, I quite enjoy this weapon. Then the Annihilator. It's kind of like the train, but I like it a little bit better since it does a lot of damage, but it's got a really low cooldown. And once it evolves, it'll give you gold sometimes when you kill enemies. So it's okay if you're just like farming gold. Yeah. And then Tibbers. Tibbers is something I only use on Alawi. On Alawi, I think it's great because you're already getting the duration for your base weapon, but on everything else, it's probably like C tier. But I'll put it in B tier as well because it'd be a high C tier on everything else. But on Alawi, it's probably like an A tier. So I'll put it at the bottom of B tier. Does quite good damage. Can kind of block your vision if you get too much area size, which can be a little bit of a problem, but on something like Alawi, you just let this do all the work and you get your like shiv weapon, your health regen with the slicers, and you just let those three weapons do all the work while you run around in circles and let the tentacles also slap. Then we get to the Uwu Blaster, which is the best damage weapon in the game by far. It does insane single target, which everything else here is kind of lacking, except maybe Tibbers. And I think this is a must get on every single champion. It evolves off ability haste, and yeah, it'll help you a lot on the final boss. Then we get to these Vortex gloves, which I will also be putting into C tier. They're alright. You get some projectiles, they do decent damage, but everything else above them is just better. I put them higher, I put them more like right here. Yeah, I tried to make them work again, but I don't know why you would ever get them, to be honest. When they're not great AoE, they're hard to control for a single target because you have to be running around them in a circle, which, doesn't always work. And yeah, I wouldn't really ever get them. And then we get to the Yumi bot. It's the AFK weapon. If you want to sit there and do absolutely nothing, it's quite good. It evolves off pickup, which is something you don't always want to get. Pretty much only on Zaya you actually want to get that. But yeah, I probably put it into D tier, maybe the top of D tier, since it's CCs at least. And will drop health packs after you evolve it, but it's got a long cooldown. So you shouldn't be expecting to get too many health packs. But I have used it to win, and the health packs have saved me. So maybe actually I'll put it at the bottom of C tier. But yeah, that's what I think. And yeah, it was fun getting to the title. And yeah, thanks for watching.